Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 2025 NCAA Division III Field Hockey Selection Show. I'm your host for tonight, Kelsey Casper, and I have the honor of unveiling the 28 teams whose postseason journeys will begin with the hopes of a national championship. Last year was Middlebury, who celebrated their 7th straight national title, but who will hoist this year's trophy on November 23rd in Hartford, Connecticut? We will have to wait and see. But I won't be alone tonight. I'm happy to be joined by the voice of field hockey. She's been calling games all season long. Leah Secondo joins us ahead of the bracket. And Leah, I got to ask, what's the excitement level heading into this postseason of field hockey? It feels like there's several teams that have a shot at bringing home the title.
Just watching the polls this year, I think it speaks volumes, right, of the way that the game has improved. The players have improved as well with the parity across the country. Middlebury has shown some vulnerability, even though they have quite the resume, as you mentioned, have won 8 in the last 9 championships. And I think some other teams are certainly feeling that they are in position this year to take it home.
Definitely anything can happen in the tournament. Thanks, Leah. We'll hear from you soon. But as far as the bracket goes, it features a total of 28 teams, 18 automatic qualifiers, and 10 at-large bids. The first round begins on Wednesday, November 12th, with the second and third rounds taking place that weekend on the 15th and 16th. The top 4 teams will then head to Robin L. Shepard Field in Hartford, Connecticut for semifinal action on the 21st and the national championship on November 23rd. All right, enough from me. Let's go ahead and reveal the first teams in this year's field. The top seed in this year's tournament and the host for the second round games is Christopher Newport. The Captains completed the perfect season, undefeated 17-0, despite facing one of the most difficult schedules in the country. The only team in the nation to defeat 2 top 5 teams during the regular season. CNU wrapped up the year ranked first in the nation in scoring defense, boasting 13 shutouts. They will certainly be the team to beat in this year's field. And they will face the winner of this next matchup, starting with Rowan. 5 conference titles in a row for the Profs, and boy, did they do it in exciting fashion. Kaylee Wenzel scored the lone goal in second overtime to take down TCNJ and secure the automatic bid into the tournament. And they will go head-to-head with Lynchburg. 2 conference titles in 3 years for the Lynchburg Hornets, who defeated Shenandoah 5-1 on Saturday. Anna Dorenstein led the way with her 4th hat trick of the season. Moving along, we will see Salisbury. In their first season competing in the SUNYAC, the Gulls took home the conference crown. It's the 26th in program history. Also, a special afternoon for Salisbury as head coach Dawn Chamberlain celebrated her 600th career win with the Seals. Salisbury will take on Denison in the first round. It took some extra time, but Denison came out on top of North Coast rival and top-seeded Ohio Wesleyan 2-1 on the road to win their 6th conference title and punch their ticket to the tournament. Our final matchup in this portion of the bracket starts with Dickinson. The Red and White keep one of their best seasons in program history alive heading into the NCAA tournament. They started off the season on a 9-game win streak, finishing the regular season winning 2 of 3 and went undefeated 10-0 at home. First time with double-digit home wins since 2009. And they will meet up with St. Mary's. The Seahawks are still celebrating their thrilling United East title victory that saw senior captain Emma Watkins net the game-winning goal with 4:26 remaining in the extra frame. St. Mary's heads to the tournament for the 2nd straight year. All right, the first 7 teams on the bracket. Let's go ahead and bring in Leah. And Leah, what immediately jumps out to you at the top of the bracket?
Well, I think the fact that Christopher Newport, obviously number 1 in the coaches poll, they've outscored opponents 60-6 on the year. One of the teams that they've played and had one of their toughest games of the year against was Salisbury, 2-1. Now, Salisbury has to get through the first 2 rounds, but that would make a great matchup for this Newport team that on the season had 13 shutouts on the year.
Impressive, good stuff. Well, we are quarter of the way through as we say hello to our next host in Bates. Bates had their best start in program history this season, kicking off the year going 9-0. They then went on to make history, breaking their program record for wins in a season with 15, and also becoming the first NESCAC field hockey team to record 3 shutouts. They will host the second and third rounds of the tournament for the next slate of teams. Up first it's Stevens, 3-peat as MAC champs. The Ducks have seen success all season long, recording a pair of wins against teams ranked in the top 10 earlier this year, their highest ranked wins in program history. Stevens is led by goalkeeper Lily Wurzbicki, who recorded her 18th win of the year this weekend, setting a single-season program record for victories. And in the first round, they will go head-to-head with Amherst. The Mammoths secure an at-large bid into the tournament with a .500 record under head coach Carol Nur. The Mammoths are led by Bella Kim with 5 goals on the season. Moving along, the next team to hear their name, it's Tufts. The Jumbos earn an at-large bid after completing their best finish in the conference play since 2018, and they were the top-scoring team in the NESCAC by a wide margin with their 51 goals in 15 games. Moving along, Tufts is going to face off against Dean in the first round. For the first time ever, Dean Field Hockey can call themselves GNAC champions. The Bulldogs defeated Colby Sawyer College 3-1 on Saturday, marking the first time in school history a Dean's athletic program has won a championship in the Great Northeastern Athletic Conference. This will also be their first appearance in the Big Dance. Last 2 teams in this section. Up first, it's Williams. The Eefs are making their 11th NCAA appearance under head coach Alex Barrel. The head coach in her 25th season leading her alma mater, looking to make another deep run in the tournament after making it to the Final Four in 2022 and 2024. And finally, the next team to hear their name is Vassar. The Brewers outlasted Union to secure their first Liberty League title since 2021, featuring a great performance from Most Outstanding Performer Karina Hoffman, who recorded a goal and an assist. Okay, Leah, here's the next 7. What are your thoughts on the top seed here, Bates, as well as a team like Dean making their first appearance?
Well, I like that too. Congratulations to Dean, because that says so much about the program and the hard work that the young ladies have put in. Williams and Amherst played Bates very tough 2-1 matches. I think that's going to be interesting if both those teams can move on out of their rounds. And of course, Tufts, that could be a matchup to put an asterisk next to as well. That one was a loss to Tufts, 2-1. So that bracket in itself has a lot of different stories that have potential to develop as the week progresses along.
Well, we'll have to keep an eye on that section of the bracket for sure. Well, halfway through the field, let's unveil our next group of 7, starting with the second round host in Johns Hopkins. Only one blemish on the Blue Jays schedule this season as Johns Hopkins enters the tournament on an 18-game win streak and Centennial Conference champs for the 7th straight year. The Blue Jays defeated Dickinson for the conference crown as Megan Chain was named tournament MVP. Moving along in the first round, the first name here, we see Stevenson. For the first time ever, the Mustangs are the champions of the MAC Commonwealth and making their first appearance in the NCAA tournament. Haley Mertz was named tournament MVP after scoring 2 goals in the postseason, including the championship game winner. Stevenson in the first round, they will go head-to-head against WPI. The Engineers made their first ever appearance in the new MAC title game this season after finishing the regular season with an impressive 8-1 record in conference play. WPI also defended their home field well this year with a spotless 8-0 record at home. Our next matchup, it starts with Middlebury. The Panthers are no stranger to the postseason. We've said it. They've won the last 7 national championships. Middlebury leads NESCAC in goals allowed, penalty corners, and shots, while being tied for 3rd in goals scored. And they have a date in the first round with Westfield State. The repeat conference champs out of the NESCAC, as the Owls win on Saturday, mark their 18th victory of the season and 16 consecutive win. Both of those are active school records. Moving along, next team to hear their name is Endicott. Endicott earns the automatic bid after a thrilling overtime comeback to win the CNE title game, their 7th overall conference championship. It was Sabrina Brunette who scored her first career game-winning goal for the CNE crown and ultimately the automatic bid. 20 wins for the Blue and Green this season is a program record. Endicott will go head-to-head against Keene State in the first round. the Owls are going to have to make some room in their trophy case, bringing home their 16th Little East title. Not an easy road, to say the least, for the Owls as they advance to the conference championship after a thrilling semifinal win that ended in a 3-2 penalty shootout. All right, Leah, looking at this group of 7 teams, any matchups really sticking out to you?
Well, I like the fact, first of all, that Johns Hopkins, right, their only blemish is against Christopher Newport. So they have some work to do to have that opportunity to play them again. But you got to look at that Middlebury Westfield State matchup, I believe. Middlebury obviously has the experience to be in this type of setting. That goes a long way come postseason week. But you're playing a Westfield State team that has won 16 in a row. They repeat as conference champions, and they are on a roll right now. And those are the teams that are the most dangerous.
Yeah, we'll see how Middlebury fares in this group, looking for their 8th straight national championship. All right, we're down to our final 7 teams in this year's Division III field hockey bracket. Our final second-round host, it's Babson, a 20-win season for the Beavers that featured their 5th consecutive NEWMAC title. Senior Lainey Reed scored the lone goal of the game to lift her team to the NCAA tournament for the 6th season in a row. Of note, the Green and White have won 21 straight home games going back to last season. Starting with the next matchup in the first round, it's Bowdoin. The Bowdoin Polar Bears can take a breath because they are in. Bowdoin began the season on winning their first 5 games. The Polar Bears scored a total of 41 goals this season and were paced by Emily Ferguson with 11 of them. And they will go head-to-head with Scranton in the first round. Angie Shaw's 2 goals led the way for the Royals, who secured their first landmark conference title since 2021. This is the team's 3rd landmark title in program history, all under head coach Colleen Moyer and assistant coach Michelle Merkel. Moving down the bracket, next team we have is Wesleyan. What an exciting season for the Cardinals. They broke their single-season all-time wins record and set a new single-season shutout record. A big highlight for this team, it was upsetting top-seeded Tufts in the conference semifinals this weekend. And they will face Marywood in the first round. The Pacers are back-to-back Atlantic East Conference champs, their 3rd conference crown since joining the Atlantic East as they shut out Newman. Darian Jones was selected as the tournament's MVP. All right, here's our last matchup, and it starts with Hamilton. The Continental season is still alive, and it has been a memorable one. Hamilton with their most wins in a season since 2016. And they will face SUNY Geneseo. The Knights improved to 20-1 on the season after taking home their 2nd straight Empire 8 championship. This team scored 5 goals in the conference title game. They have dominated offensively this entire season and head into the NCAA tournament ranked 2nd in goals per game and points per game. All right, that was the last 7 teams we get to see on the bracket. Leah, what are your thoughts on these 7 teams?
Well, Babson at 20-1 on the year, their lone loss coming to Middlebury. So, some revenge factor certainly on their mind. And I like the fact Lanny Reed only scores 3 goals in the regular season, gets the winner in the playoffs for the Beavers. And those are the players that are dangerous, players that are coming on late in the season, might not be a factor. They have their top 3 scorers are averaging over 50% of their goals. So that looms a little bit. But I also have to put a little asterisk next to Wesleyan with that 14-4 record. They have some motivation as well. Trinity College is about 15 minutes to the north, and they would like nothing more to be playing quote-unquote a home game come that Final Four weekend.
That's a good point. Well, that will do it. That's all 28 teams in this year's tournament team. Let's go ahead and get Leah's final thoughts, taking a big, broad outlook. How do you think this thing will play out, Leah?
Well, I think it is really wide open, and obviously Christopher Newport has done their work being recognized by the conference. I think there's motivation certainly on Coach DiLorenzo's team. They're ranked ninth in the coaches poll, the latest one for the D3s. I think it is wide open. I think you could look at a number of teams for their factors, and of course, when you talk about postseason, everybody's 0-0. It's a clean slate, and there's a lot of motivation to move on to tomorrow.
Exactly. Clean slate starting now. Thank you so much for all your analysis, Leah. I know the fans appreciate it as well as I, so thank you so much for joining us.
You're most welcome.
Well, that's it for us. Couple reminders that action will begin in the first round on Wednesday, November 12th. The final 4 teams will head to Robin L. Shepard Field in Hartford, Connecticut, where a national champion will be crowned on November 23rd. Thank you all so much for joining us tonight. And of course, best of luck to all the student athletes competing in this year's competition.
Class, today we're talking NCAA championships and life lessons. Schoolwork got you stressed, feeling overwhelmed. Need a place to unleash a quick, hearty yell? Behold. Join thousands of screaming fans for a heart-pounding in-person experience you have to see to believe. NCAA championships. Attendance is encouraged. Passion is mandatory. Visit ncaa.com/tickets.
Professor, who are you talking to?